to see our liberty, a light flowing down from the heavenlies, and we are here reaching out. The word of God is all we need. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. So God, please speak to me, reaching the next generation.
Reaching the next generation. I'm Jerome Jones. Today I'm in the role of Chef Jones, and so I'm going to do a very simple meal today. And those of you that are watching, get your notes out. Just kind of take some little notes and you can prepare this meal. And I'm going to do it in a record time. We're simply going to make some smothered pork chops. We're going to do some white rice and some green beans. That's how the meal is going to go today. I'm starting from scratch and I'm going to do this all the way through. Okay, let me see as we get started. We're going to go with the first thing, that is our meat. And usually when you're starting a meal, you want to get your item that takes the longest done first. You want to get it on the fire. And so all we're going to do is take some seasoning. Now, I've done something that's going to speed this up a little bit because I mixed all of my seasonings together. And so when I put one shaking on it, I'm going to be done. And so keep some paper towels handy. Keep your hands clean so that you don't contaminate any of the food. And what you want to do, this is just going to be a small meal, but it's going to be a good one. I've mixed up my seasonings. I have salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder mixed together. I'm going to give you that mixture later, but we're just going to dust these with the seasoning. I've already turned my oven on 375. And so we're going to season them on both sides, flip them over. And then season them on the next side. By having your seasonings already blended together, you don't have to use but one time, and you don't put all 4 seasonings on your food, and it's going to be a lot more evenly seasoned than if you had to put each seasoning on individually. So once you season them on both sides, you just put your pan and lay them in. And when I put them in, I put the bone side on the bottom. And then just lay 2 layers, and they can be slightly overlapping. Now we're going to simply put them in the oven just like they are. We're not going to put any water in them or anything. They're going to get some little juice from itself, and then I'm going to make a gravy for them. And normally you want to set your oven on when you first come in. I did that, but it didn't turn on, so it doesn't matter with meat because you don't have to have a preheated oven to put meat in. But if it was something like dough, you wouldn't put it in until it got the temperature. Now, the next thing you do in this process, you got your meat in the oven. You want to make your cut up your onions and things like that. I'm going to cook with an onion. I'm going to cook with 2 jalapeno peppers. I've got nearly 2 sticks of butter. I got a can of green beans here, rice here. I got some salt pork here, and I got a little sliced ham that I'm going to use just to get rid of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my green beans going, because I don't want to have to make anything, and I'm going to put my green beans on, and then I'm going to put the rice on, so that'll get out of the way. You always keep yourself moving forward towards your end goal. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a pot, and we're going to open our can of green beans. But before we open the green beans, we're going to cut up a little piece of this salt pork. If you don't have salt pork, you can use regular bacon. But I'm going to use just about 3 of these is more than enough. I could get away with just using 2. Because I got this little ham that's going to go in it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and slice this up, put it in the pot. When you're in your kitchen, you want to pay attention to 2 things. Is a double S, and that is safety and sanitation. Knives cut, stoves are hot. And we want to pay attention to that. But there's some other things you want to pay attention to when you're cooking, because you want to keep in mind that people are going to eat this food. So you want to be inspecting the food as you go. Everything you use, you want to inspect it. By that I mean, make sure it's fresh. Make sure it's not stale. Make sure that if you got meat that has an odor, you got to get rid of it. If you don't take chances, there are some people come in the kitchen and they have, maybe the meat is turning bad, and what they do is that they try to wash it off and still use it. Well, the contamination is down in the meat, so you're not going to get rid of it like that. See? So now once I put this bacon in here, I'm going to turn it on the fire, and now that'll be cooking. While that's beginning to cook, I always check my food, because I'm a very strict fanatic about having the food prepared and making sure that it is clean. So now I'm going to get a little oil and put in this pot, just a little bit. Now if I had olive oil, I'll use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, but I may not have any. I'm just making this meal out of whatever we got here, and trust me on this, I think this is going to be the last one for a while here. We got to go back and get some other stuff, but we're kind of lazy this week, so we're not really going to worry about going. Now we're going to get a little oil, and we're going to put a little oil in that. And when you're cooking, try to get all your things out, because just like I had to move to get that oil, well, I don't want to have to move, because anytime you're doing a production, you want to stay visible. So now that will cook. Now what's next? We're going to open up our beans in just a moment. But now I'm going to go ahead and measure up my rice. So I'm going to cook my rice in a rice cooker. If you don't have a rice cooker, get one. Invest in a rice cooker. It'll do wonders for you. You can put your rice on, and then you can leave it, and you're all done. I'm cooking enough for rice so that we can have rice left over, and I won't have to cook it all the time. And I use a jasmine rice, or I use a rice that's good and a good parboiled that's already got the starches off of it. And I put it in here, and all I gotta do now is put my water in here, set it in the cooker, turn it on. But I'm also gonna put salt in it, so I season it with a little salt. I'm gonna put 1 stick of butter in it. And if you don't want to put anything else in it, that's good. So now I'm going to take this here, make sure that my bacon is frying. I'm going to put my water in the rice so that it will be ready to go in the once I use something, I try to get it, if I'm finished with it, I try to get it out of the way. You know, the less things you have in your way, the better you're going to be able to function. Okay, so if you're done with it, kind of get it out of the way. Now, we're going to put, this is, that's there working okay. We're going to put our water in here. And this water, you're going to fill about, this is about 7 cups. But this rice cooker has the measurements on the side of the rice cooker. So all you got to do is just, you know, put it up to where it's supposed to be. And once you do that, you stick it over here in the rice cooker. Plug it in, turn it on, and press white rice. Now that's done. So now my rice cooker is cooking my rice. Now, see this here? This is salt pork. But I've just noticed something. I'm smelling a little tainted scent to this. So I'm throwing this out, and I'm getting rid of this because this will not work. So you see, that's what now it has a slight smell, and what you don't want that getting in your food. Don't ignore the smell of something. If you smell it, get rid of it. Because if you smell meat, that means it's already begun to turn, and meat will turn from the inside out. So now we're going to check on something else. See, when you have leftovers, you can't just go back and use them. Like this is another pack of ham that we have, and it's good. It smells good just like it is. I can actually eat a piece of this. Yep. So this is what I'll use for my seasoning. Yep. But now, see, but if I touch it and it has a little slippery film to it, I throw it away. So even though it smells good, but if it's got a little slippery feel to it, throw it out. It's not working. So that is bad. The meat was bad on one, and the meat was bad on the other. So you can't, if it's bad, you throw it away. See, that's one of the things that we have to get serious about when you're cooking, when it's come to something that you suspect. If you suspect it, there's a reason you suspect it. And that pretty much is because something really is wrong with it. Okay? So in my kitchen, I only deal with stuff that I am confident that is right. If I have to think about it, it goes in the garbage can. That's the way I adopted that principle so that I can be safe when I'm preparing food. So so that means I don't have any meat to put in my beans. So it's better to have them with no meat than to put meat in them that is not good. Now let me check my refrigerator and see if I got anything else in there. If we got any bacon, if we got some regular bacon, then I will use that. Let me check. And I think we should have some because I know when but there's none there. I didn't see any in the bottom drawer. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. And that is correct. Oh, this is the latest one that I got here. This salt pork. So we have some more, a fresh pack of salt pork. We happen to have a fresh pack of this salt pork. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it my business to use this before it goes bad. Oh, that's fresh. That is good there now. So all we need is a couple of little pieces. We don't need a lot. Just about that much in there in a can of beans and you're good. Don't take much of this like you do bacon. So I'm going to go ahead and slice this up. Now I used that knife to cut up the other, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. Okay. Now this will cut up and this will just give your meat some seasoning. That's all this is for. Bring out the flavors of your beans. Make it easier for the beans to take in your other flavors. So we're just going to take this and throw it in there, just little pieces of ham. I can put as much of this in there as I want. Because the ham is actually something that we could just actually eat. Now that is, the pot was already a bit hot. I'm going to put just a little oil, about a tablespoon if that. Don't need much oil. And since that ham is able to be, no, that's not ham, that's salt pork. So I'm going to take this and get it out of the way there. And I got an onion. Now usually on the onion, I showed you a trick on the onion to keep you from the onions from burning your eyes. You actually cut them in half and you put them in the refrigerator or in the freezer for 30 minutes, and then they won't burn your eyes. I don't have the luxury of doing that this time, so I'm just going to I just want a little onion to go in there because I'm going to put some onion powder in it. But I like to saute my onions in my bacon as well. Get them sauteed in the bacon. Put that down on low for a moment. Now I'm going to open my green beans and drain the water off of them. I'm going to put some chicken broth in here as well, and then I'm going to finish seasoning them. So I have my rice on over here, and I'm going to grab my can opener. Hopefully I can use this. You know, I'm not always there when it comes to these gadgets. This sure makes a difference in opening your can. About these here cans, you want to be very careful with them, because you can cut yourself severely with the lid of these cans. So So you can, on these cans, you don't want to play around with these. You want to be very careful. You can really get sliced up with them. And you put that in there. Put just about a half cup of water. And then I usually put this here back in the bottom of the can and set it aside. I've gotten this in here. Now I'm going to put my seasonings in it. And you can use regular salt and pepper. So we're going to put regular salt and pepper. I'm going to cut this. So that I can release salt, pepper, put a little onion powder in it, and you don't have to worry about the onion powder. It's not gonna over kill it. And I put a little accent in it. Get some chicken broth. And put that in it, and put this almost a stick of butter. You can use a whole stick. And we put that on, and you can turn it on just a bit above the lowest temperature. Just one notch above your lowest temperature. It doesn't have to be hot, because these are beans that just need to steam till they're done, just to get the flavors in them. Let me get the chicken broth if we have some. Don't seem to see no chicken broth. So we don't have any chicken broth, so I'm going to use some chicken bouillon. And these here, I'm just going to put about 4 of these, 3 or 4 of them in the pot, and they will dissolve. And I'm going to add more water now that I don't have the chicken broth. I want to check one other thing that I want to be able to show you is that how to make the right substitutions for things that you don't have. So this here can just be put right in the pot. And once you get this in there, you put a little bit more water in, put the lid on it, and just let it go. So I'm going to start with 3 of them, and then I'll see if I need to put another one, I will. But I want to kind of stir them, make sure that they get into the bottom of the pot where the water and juice is going to be, so that they can dissolve and send the flavor back up through the beans. Now I'm going to put some more water in the pot, about 2-3 cups. A good way to measure is never let your water cover your beans. Now that goes there, that goes there. I'm going to put a little sugar in them. I'll put about a quarter of a cup of sugar. Now let those sit there and those will be ready. My pork chop is in, my rice is on, and so I'm just about ready to say done. And the pork chop is cooking at 375. And so while that is in, I've got another thing that I'm going to make here. So I'm going to make the gravy for the smothered pork chop. So to do that, I'm going to get a little saucepan, and I'm going to cut up these onions. We're just going to chop up our onions now. They don't have to be chopped really small, but they're going to be in the gravy. Now you want to put these right in the pot. This is a lot of them. Normally I would not need that many. I need about just one onion, but I'm just using, it's a matter of choice. I'm going to get one of these, and I'm just going to cut it up as well, slice it. Jalapeno pepper. I'm going to put that in the pot too. And we're going to get some butter and put in there, saute these onions. I could use some oil, but I want to use butter. And so once we do that, about a half stick of butter. Just we saute our onion. And another thing that I do with my onions, I season them. So I'm going to get some of my same seasoning, the combination, and I'm going to pour this in here like that. And now I'm going to get a can of cream of mushroom soup. Just 1 can of cream of mushroom soup in here. And once that onions get sauteed, I'm going to dump that in and put some water in it. Maybe put a little packet with a little hot sauce if I need it. And then that's going to go over my pork chops. Put a lid over the pork chops and they'll be done. I'm going to take the pork chops out, actually finish them on the stove. So that's the way you're going to make that. Simple, but very simple, but yet a very good meal. Because once I finish this gravy, I'm virtually done. And you know, I didn't get started until 3:30 something to 4. And it's just about almost 4 o'clock right now, Central Time. So it doesn't take a long time if you got your organization of your prep. So the only thing that I have to do here is to saute these onions. Remember, the onions are seasoned. The seasonings is in the onion. I've got my green beans here. I have my rice cooking in the rice cooker. I have my pork chops cooking in the oven. And I'm about to finish it up so I can go sit down. And that's how you can make a simple meal. You just got to know what you're going to do, lay it out in the structure that you need to lay it out in, and just get in there and get it done. No one's going to know that it only took an hour. You know, they're not going to know. Actually, I'm going to let the pork chops smother for a little bit longer, but, you know, I'm going to be done in about 10 minutes. See, and that's what you want. So since I'm going to finish these on top of the stove, I'm going to put them up on 400 and let them just go ahead and get kind of like a little crusted brown. And then put them in the skillet. I'm going to put them in here. You know, cooking doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be the boring things. You can take a simple meal and you can make it very tasteful. And that's what you want to practice. So I want you to take this here, and if you take this and cook these pork chops, and just let me know if you want to get all the measurements. Well, there's no real need for that because you're just seasoning your meat, and you're cooking rice and you're cooking beans. One of the things that this is for couples, young boys and girls. I call them boys and girls, but young adults that want to know how they can make a really delicious meal that doesn't cost them so much. You know, this is a meal that'll feed 6 people, and the cost of it will be about $25. So that's 6 people. That's because I've got maybe even 8, at least 8, because I got 8 pork chops. So you can fix a nice meal in a very minimal budget. And that's part of what the cooking channel is going to be delivering. So this is working now. And this, the green beans is working. Now, if you was going to make a chicken gravy, you just get a cream of chicken soup and put your onions and your jalapeno and your seasoning in it, and you have your chicken gravy. That's how easy it is. You don't have to go through this browning flour and sauteing onions and brown them with flour. You don't have to do that. I mean, that's the method that we grew up with. But you can get the same taste, and sometimes a lot better, if you do it another way. Now my oven is just letting me know that it's at 400 degrees now. So we're going to let that cook at 400 degrees. I'm going to make sure that I get all of this in here. And one of the things about this meal, it is a very simple one. You simply got pork chops, you got white rice, and you got green beans. Now, actually, I can take a $20 bill and cook for 6 people, you know, with a simple meal. And you can do this at home, and the family will enjoy it. In fact, you may need a double pack of pork chop because they're going to love them. And so this is the day of this cooking is Thursday. So we're in this house. We'll have this for the day and perhaps tomorrow. So don't forget to subscribe to the cooking channel. You got to go over to Cooking with the Chef. I was trying to broadcast it live from there, but I was not able to. So I'm going to hook up my channel to the OBS software, and I'll be able to stream it live from there. Now this is just onion, you know, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and jalapeno pepper. That's what I've got in here. So this is a cream of mushroom soup. Got 1 can. You're going to dump that right in there. And then you're going to put some water in it. Let me grab my kind of get that rubber spatula so I can get all of that out of there, because there's more in there, and I like to get it all. See that? Now we're going to put some water in it. Got a couple of cans. I also would use the chicken broth in this as well. You can use chicken broth in your pork items. You can use it in virtually any of your items, any of your meat items or your veggies. And so I'm going to stir this up and let it come to a boil. And I'm just getting rid of this last this last chicken bouillon that I got here. Just gonna put it on in there. Let that cook out there. Now, put some butter in here. And so that is just about ready. Once that comes to, I'm going to bring it to a little boil, then I'm going to cut it down on low. Let it just simmer. There's no set time. But you just simply want to get it ready to pour it over the top of these pork chops. And then once you do that, you're all done. See? I'm all done. I'm going to start putting my seasonings and things back. I'm going to leave them out for a while until I go through the last seasoning of everything to make sure that it has the flavor that I want. So now there you have it. That's a very simple and a very tasteful meal. And even though it is in the middle of the week, it can be a very delightful meal to set on your table for your family at a very cost-effective budget. Okay? So all it is some sliced pork chop, green beans, and rice that has a very good gravy that the chops are smothered in, and you can serve it with light bread. You don't have to have any cornbread or biscuits with this. You can use that if you want, but just to show you that for $20 you can do a really good job with a meal that's going to be seemingly like it's a special meal. Okay, everything doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. Now this is beginning to boil up. You just make sure you mix it up. Make sure that all the mushroom soup gets stirred up properly. The butter is going to melt. And there's another little thing that I'm going to show you what you can cook with. Some of the young people, they have a problem understanding seasonings, because this has just not been people to show them. I know I learned just by watching my mother and just by trying this and trying that. But there are some things that comes out in the market that can really enhance the seasoning and make it good. I'm going to be showing you some of those things as we go down this journey. So I'm going to get a couple of packs and put it in here and show you what they are. That's these right here. If you want to cook with something, you can add these here. These will help flavor your food. And people see the name and they think, oh, it's going to make it taste funny. No, it's going to make it taste good. You just throw them in there. You don't have to even worry about it doing any harm to your food whatsoever. It's just an enhancer to the other ingredients. So I'm just going to put a couple of packs of this in here and stir it in, and this is ready to go over the meat. All of that rich flavor now is going to be blended into this soup. And we just pour it over the meat, cover it with aluminum foil, stick it back in the oven, or put it in this pan that I'm going to use today. And it's going to be just what we wanted, just how we wanted it. Yep, I see that those are getting a little color on them. So I'm going to be pulling those chops out. And you know, this started from right here. So I'm going to pull the chops out and just put them in the frying pan. So that we can go ahead and be done. So now when I cook this here like this, I also, instead of just pouring this in here, I take the juice and I pour the juice into my broth to make sure that it gets mixed evenly in here. And I'm going to use another pan because I don't want this to spread out. So I'm going to use one of those cooking pans in the cabinet there. Oh no, I'm not. I forgot that I'm going to do this on top of the stove. So now the gravy is ready. So now we're going to lay these chops in the pan. That's all your chops. You're just going to lay them in the pan. Now I'll bring it over here. And you just can overlay them. Just kind of overlap them in a circular mode. Just go all the way around the pan in a circular motion. And what's going to happen here is that this is going to make, they're going to get a lot more tender, and they're going to be, so that means they're going to be softer, and the flavor will saturate in them. I'll come back and turn them. And see, there you have it. Now that's those chops. Now you're going to take this and you're just going to put this here, and you're going to put this all over it. Now I'm not going to spoon it all out like this. I just like to do this. You want to make sure that that your vegetables and things get to the bottom. This is going to be a nice little southern treat. So now I'm just going to pour all of this out around here like that. Now if you can take a look at this is what that looks like. You know, you got your, this is a pan of chops, and you set them right here on the stove. And you just put a lid on them and slow cook them now. So I've got to find the lid for that. I think I got it right here. Here we go. Now I am done with the, here, cut my oven off. My rice has got about 4 minutes before it's done. My beans will be done by the time this here simmer for another half hour to an hour. It's all ready to eat, but I can let it simmer for 4 or 5 hours. If it's all about how tender do I want it. Okay, the meat will be done, but if you want it to be tender, some people want it like it really tender. Some people like it so that they have to pull it off the bone. I like my meat to be really tender, and I think that's the way we get. The older we get, you don't like that hard stuff anymore. Sometimes people will say, well, you're not old. That's a matter of opinion. But when you get going upward to 70, I think you can call that old. And anybody that don't think so, well, they're living in imagination. But you don't have to, you don't have to act like you're falling out. You can be healthy, and thank God for that. But that's a easy meal. So you can put that together in about 30 minutes or so, and then just let it simmer. It takes a little bit to do your prep work, about 15-20 minutes getting your prep work out. Try to get all your stuff ready before you start cooking. And that way you don't have to worry about where is this or do you have that. These are just tips that'll help you if you really want to grow and you want to be able to do more. Because if I was cooking for 30 people, I would have to do a lot more than what I've done. But the systematic way of doing it is still the same. So I thought we would want a meal today, so we just, after Thanksgiving, I kind of got burnt out. We had so much food was eaten. It wasn't wasted. No, it was eaten up. So I'm going to lay my spoons here that I'm still using. And I'm just going to now get everything off this counter that I'm not using. And guys, that's going to do it for today's meal. This is a very simple but very good pork chop meal. And I want to invite you now to like and subscribe to our cooking channel. That's Cooking with the Chef. Hopefully we'll soon be streaming directly to that channel, but right now we got to upload this video there, and we want you to subscribe to it. We got some things coming up that we're going to be putting a scripture lesson to this meal, and just like you're getting a simple but delicious natural meal, we're going to give you a spiritual meal as well. Until the next time, I'm Bishop Jerome Jones saying, if you go with God, I know God will surely go with you. And you do now, by all means, have yourself a Jesus-filled day. Bye-bye.